Indeed, and greetings unto you, beloved and holy friends. Thank you so much for joining me here again today on another video, another live stream, another moment that we get to spend with one another. We might have a little bit of a shaky cam. I decided to stream in my room today because it's been super windy out and I couldn't find any nook or cranny where I could kind of hide away and escape the wind noise. Like I could do it in my normal spot. There's like this little nook close to my brother's room, but he's either busy watching something or busy working, so I didn't want to disturb him. I am feeling kind of good here though. It feels so quiet, so serene. Look at that pretty painting. Just look at it. Ooh. Ooh, you did actually ask about that, Jovan. You were like, when are we gonna have a stream in front of the painting? And here we are. It's like I've signed up for a backstage pass, infamous one, to the room. I have my glass there, but I don't have anywhere to put it. So we're drinking from the jug. I love you too, friend. Thank you so much for joining us. How have you been, infamous? How have you been? How's life been treating you? While I wait for you to let me know, I am going to say something worth saying. I want to talk about words today, actually. See if I can find one that is going to resonate with that. Maybe this is the one, actually. Like, I'm going to read a few of them, actually. So, you are worthy of creation and all that you create. So stop and say, it is very good. Look at everything in your life and look at it from a place of awe. Own it as self-created. It is very good I have done this, and it is good that I have created. You know, like the last few days, I've been having a little bit of a hard time, like directly after basically talking about mental health, and especially about the mental health, epidemic that's been going on. I kind of felt like in some sort of I don't know how to say it, even ploy, uh, call to awareness with myself. I wanted to make myself extra aware of the pain that the world was experiencing, and with the pain that I was like taking onto myself, I was starting to say things to myself that is also in line with being not mentally healthy, if you will. And I'm realizing now, especially, that it was literally just this thing I was saying to myself, the words I was using, and it was this perpetual loop that I was, continually repeating, and it was very much disturbing. And yesterday we talked about dreams, and I mentioned that like we'll try to like take some melatonin today and see if that actually helps. And I technically didn't dream anything better. I didn't have a good dream at all. I had a dream about a post-apocalyptic zombie apocalypse-esque type of world where, weirdly enough, there was like this line, like there was some sort of new fungal virus, going through the world, and like we were getting vaccinated and stuff. And instead of, one of the dudes getting vaccinated, he thought it was going to be funny and he injected some of that vaccine into his vape, weirdly enough, of all things. And then he started to like vape this vaccine, if you will, and he was like just blowing the smoke into people's faces because they were like completely against doing, or him doing that, if you will. And like he basically started to like break out into this zombie-esque like fever, and all of the people that was inhaling the smoke that he was blowing at them, it happened to them as well. And I happened to be in that space, watching it happen. And like I'm guessing, if a zombie apocalypse was to happen, it is going to be like some sort of in between period, like, oh, there's this new infectious zombie disease, bunch of people get kind of infected, and then pandemonia ensues afterwards. But there was just like kind of, it was spreading so fast that it was instantly, like level 10 pandemonia. And like I found myself consolidating with this group of people, and we were, kind of holding strong. And I was without a weapon, and I was like with this group of people because they had weapons, if you will. And like they were fighting other humans, as they do in the zombie apocalypse movies for some reason, or in this dream at least as well, because now suddenly every resource was a scarce resource. And there was this infighting between, us as humans, and like after one of these infightings happened, like we kind of moved to where all of the devastation happened, if you will. And I was like, I found a weapon. I found like an assault rifle, and I just felt like, oh yeah, sick, an assault rifle. That's a handy thing to have in a zombie apocalypse, And I pick up this assault rifle, and I take out the magazine, and I check the magazine, and I was like, oh, there's not a single bullet in it. And it was so visceral because I could literally, I've never held an assault rifle in my life, but I could see in intricate detail where everything on this assault rifle was. I like flipped it over. I knew how I was gonna load it if I found bullets, if I happened to have found bullets. And then on one of the people that got shot, he was holding onto this remote, and like I picked up the remote and I pressed the button that was in his hand, and suddenly this like garage door next to us, like big garage door, like just started opening up. And in this garage there were like a bunch of cars, and there were planes for some reason. And there were just these like shelving units, like by the sides of them. So it was like in the middle was the cars and planes, and then on the sides were all of these shelving units, and like there was the gun bags and stuff like that. And we all basically, like our group of people, like fared into that place. Like it was like, oh yeah, we hit the jackpot. If you wanna survive a zombie apocalypse, you have to kit up or whatever. And I was like going into this space, like finding, whatever I could find. And it was so weird as well because I was just so happy. I was so ecstatic about finding this warehouse, or pressing this button and this warehouse opening up, and us being able to find all of this stuff. And like I kind of go into this place, and I for some reason spend so much time. Like there was this cupboard, if you will. Is it a cupboard? Maybe, with all of these little drawers. And they were these long, narrow drawers that was going into it. And I kind of assumed that if there was bullets stored anywhere, it was going to be stored in one of those drawers. And I just like started, and they were like, a grid of like three by I think like 10. So like 30 little individual drawers in this little cupboard. So I started like at the top, and I was just pulling out, each of them, trying to find ammunition for my gun. And I was looking through this, and it was such a weird experience, like the fact that I had information within each and every single one of those drawers. Like there was, like photos of people, and there were like, random like drill bits and like screwdrivers, and like there was something in each one of those drawers. And I got to like I think the 27th one or something like that, and I pull out this drawer, and I find like bullets this big, like way too big for my weapon. And I'm like, okay, well, I found bullets, but it's not exactly the bullets that I thought I would need, or the bullets that I was looking for necessarily. But I took them anyway, and like I thought maybe I could trade them, if you will. And like that's the thing with these type of dreams as well, and especially when I take melatonin, like it feels like the dreams are kind of slowed down, and the amount of detail that I find in the dreams is like upped significantly. And then I kept moving, and I was like moving a little bit to the right, and there were these gun bags hanging from like a kind of, those kind of like those pot hanging systems that you have like over your island, almost something like that, but there was like gun bags hanging off of them. And I got close to them, and I started like touching the gun bags to make sure if there's guns in them, because like I got like some sort of rifle ammunition, so I kind of assumed there might be a rifle somewhere. And as I'm like feeling these bags, my dad comes up to me, and he's like, "Oh, you know, you've been busy for so long going through those individual drawers. You know, everybody has already taken those guns, and I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of sucks, but guess that's the way it is. And I go like left and over to the other side of the hall where I see nobody has kind of like been yet, and I start the whole process over again, looking for stuff, and I find marbles. I find so many marbles, and the most beautiful marbles I've ever seen in my entire life. These intricate, like gorgeous glasswork marbles. Some of them had like a big piece of glasswork on the outside. Then on the inside of that was like a golden lattice, kind of like, interwoven over it. And then inside of that golden interwoven lattice was another like piece of glasswork that had these intricate swirls, and it was beautiful. It was such a visceral experience just looking at these marbles. And I was like, oh, I guess marbles can come in handy, if you want to set an ambush, or if you want to like keep the zombies from your property or something like that. I was like, man, marbles are essential. I got convinced myself. I'm like, yeah, we fucking need marbles as well. And I get like a little pouch, and this pouch is already like almost full with marbles. And I like put my hand in them, and I look at them, and every single one of them is like a individual, and very beautiful as well, like such a complex bag of marbles. And then I look at this like tray, and it's just like stacked, and some of them are like massive, like we call them goons. Like that's what we used to call them in Afrikaans, is goons, like the big marbles. And I was like, oh, these things won't necessarily be that good for anything other than blunt force trauma. So I was like leaving those. And then my little cousin, like Anari, little cousin came up to me, and she's like, oh, you found marbles? You have to give them to the group or something like that. Like, everything we find has to be given to the whole group, and everybody should have access to them, be allowed to use them. And I was like, kind of like feeling hostile almost, like, no. The other people don't need marbles. I'm the one that needs the marbles. And she like throws a little bit of a fit or something, and I give her a bag of marbles, and then she's satisfied, and she walks away with the marbles. And I wake up from this dream, and I feel not scared, I feel not angry, I feel kind of like satisfied, if that makes any sense. I felt a sense of happiness, a sense of relief, a sense of understanding how my mindset, even in that case, in a zombie apocalypse case, was still something that I could control. So still something that I could, find beauty within. Like these marbles was something so out of character, if you will. Like it was like a whole chaos going on the outside, and I am like completely zenned out in the zone, looking at marbles. And I'm like, oh yeah, this marble is kind of sick. Click, click, puts it in a little baggie. And this marble is kind of nice. And for some reason, how it can be in dreams, the little baggie that I had just had infinite space. I was like spending what seemed like hours just sifting through freaking marbles, and I was just like shoving marbles in this bag, and it never filled up. And I was so entrenched, so involved in this like marble sorting, that the rest of the world just disappeared. Like I didn't notice the other beings in the room anymore. I didn't think about the potential of, death. I didn't think about the potential of these, zombies on the outside, the potential for friends or, loved ones to be affected by these negative things. And it was kind of like this wake up call. Like, there's so much, that there is to be grateful for. There's so much beauty out there. And yet there is so much, bad stuff out there as well. And just because of where I was placing my focus, like the words I was telling myself, the story I was kind of narrating as I was looking at these marbles, it literally completely like transformed my experience. And I woke up, and I was like thinking about this, and I was like, huh. Have I been looking at the zombie apocalypse instead of the marbles this whole time? Have I been thinking about the apocalypse instead of the beautiful future, you know. And it was like a genuine wake up call, and I've been feeling fantastically afterwards. Had a phone call with a friend. You know, I mentioned to his girlfriend that I've not been doing well, you know, as of late, and then he called me a while later, and like he's asking me, you know, what's going on, and I tell him the story about the horrible dreams we've been having, the intentions we've been setting, and how these things have been making me feel. And he's like, dude, that sounds kind of hectic. I'm sorry to hear that. And he says something that I like instantly almost got like jarred by, where he was like, oh homie, I've been going through some things as well, he says to me, but nothing as bad as what you've been going through. And I'm like, no. Don't even think about saying that. Tell me what's been going on, you know, like I'm here to listen to you as well. And he tells me what's been going on in his life as well, and how, you know, like there's been some turmoil with, you know, certainty, if you will, you know, knowing what comes next, having a clear, like, this is what's gonna happen, this is gonna happen, this is gonna happen, you know. And like he was living in the city, and he, you know, signed a contract, a lease, or whatever you call it. So his lease is only finishing next year February, and he's no longer living in that apartment, but he still has to pay for it. And you know, like he was saving the money that he was going to have basically, and he was going to buy himself a car with that, and now he's going to have to pay for an apartment that he's not staying in. And just, you know, like this friend of mine, we haven't been talking for a while, and we recently started talking again. And just being able to be there for one another, like having that conversation, that back and forth, just hearing each other's voices, and just, you know, lending a listening ear, it made me feel lighter. And he said the same thing to me, like it's also something that helped him in that moment. And yeah, it's been a beautiful day, friends. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're doing well. Do tell me. Edmund, it's nice to have you here. Thad and Niner, I'm doing well. How about you? We have Christabel here as well. This is cool inside. Eee. This is what I wake up to every morning. You want to see how big it is? Let me show you. Yeah, and it goes a while that way and a while that way as well. Uh, it's a painting by a friend, and like the story about this painting is at least to me a beautiful one as well. So that is obviously Jupiter, and I've seen the photo, the original photo of Jupiter before, and like I see my friend posting this photo on his like WhatsApp status, and I just said to him, man, we live in an absolutely beautiful universe. And he sends back to me, yeah, we really do. And you know, I exit out of the chat, and then I see he posted more things on his status, and the rest of the stuff that he posted is basically him painting Jupiter. And I like instantly just have this freaking mind melting experience. I'm like, bro, you're you're the one that painted this thing. And I also, you know, see him as a human in the scale of this entire painting, and I realize this thing is massive. It's 3 meters by 1.4 meters, so it's ginormous. You know, very fitting as well, since it is a painting of Jupiter after all. And I'm like, dude, you know, like that's amazing. You're the one that did it, right? And he's like, yup. And I'm like, are you selling it? And he's like, yup. And I told him, I'll buy it from you. And he's like, oh, you know, I'm not sure if I want to sell it right now. I was planning on, you know, taking it to auction and then having like a little bit of a bidding thing to see how much I can get for it. Like it was literally an entire year that he spent painting this, a year of his life, you know, dedicated towards creating something. And I had, do I want to tell you how much I paid for it? It's not really important, so I'll call it X. I had X.001 amount of currency in my bank account at that point, and I tell him I'll give you X for it, and he agreed. And I asked him for his bank details, and literally within 2 hours of him making public that this painting that he did is finished and that he is willing to sell it, it was sold. And like while I was like seeing this painting, like the whole kind of energy that led up to it, I just started setting intentions for like my weed habit, if you will. I would write a message on my Garrick, before I smoke a joint, and then I would hold that message in my heart and in my mind to kind of practice whatever the energy is that is in the message. And the joint I was smoking at that point was the joint of evolution. I believe that we have the ability to consciously evolve ourselves. And I was like, this is exactly what I need. Like this is something that feels evolving to me. Just the swirling nature of this painting. The name Meltmore alongside with it. It just felt like the next evolution of what I needed to do with this X amount of money that I had. It was money that I earned working in China, and I didn't particularly enjoy my time there. And as a result, the money that I received kind of felt in a way selfish as well. And being able to do this, being able to support this friend in his dream, being able to, show him that this literal year of work that he put in wasn't in vain, and literally in 2 hours after him announcing that it was available, selling it, I just felt like it was such a real experience. And like while we were talking, I smoked the second joint, and that joint was the joint of wisdom. And I actually still have the Garrix left. I haven't done it yet, but I'm planning on gluing it on the inside of the frame, so that for as long as I have this painting, alongside with it is going to come those fundamental messages for the reason that I actually bought it. And now every single time I wake up, when I meditate in my room, I can defocus at some points, and I defocus, and these swirls will start moving. Instead of looking with my eyes, I'll look from the center of my head, and then all of these things start shifting like this. And it feels like evolution. Like it's weird. It might sound a little bit like hippie woo-wah, but this painting has been an absolute blessing for as long as I've had it. Peachy little lemon. Never seen you inside. Cool painting. Now you've heard the story, my friend. Yeah. Believe it or not, I sometimes go inside. Whatever it is a painting, my friend. It is a painting. Oh, inside stream. Yeah. We have crystal clear audio, no wind noise. It feels so tranquil. I love it actually. Good morning to you, Toasty, my dude. So nice to have you here. Do you normally write down what you dream? I never do, Infamous One. I did at some point. I have a dream journal right there, but that was about 2 years ago that I did that. And I found that it was more upsetting than anything, because when I started writing down what I was dreaming, I was also in the midst of like a little bit of a transition when it comes to my understanding of relationships. So the dreams were kind of aligned with that transition as well, and it wasn't something that I felt was serving me. So I stopped. Thank you for asking, the Infamous One. Do you write down yours? Toasty, it's so nice to have you. Melt doesn't want to lose his marbles. Oh, goodness, Edmund. What a good point, dude. I think I've already lost them, man. Not outside today. No, I'm not BTC. Inside for a change, dude. Some novelty, if you will. Everyone else. Hello, all of your friends sending loves. Thank you, Edmund. We appreciate the love you're sending. McGee, hey man, good to see you again. It's like starry night. I love it. And I love you, friend. I'm happy that you can appreciate it with me. It's it's breathtaking, dude. Like I've spent multiple hours just straight staring at it. It's so beautiful. And I mean, it's just Jupiter, dude. Literally a planet that is responsible for keeping us alive as well in a lot of ways. You know, it's like a big ass magnet catching comets and stuff that might potentially hit our planet. Evolution. Let's drink for some evolution. Thank you for the heartwarming, my friend. So big and pretty. It's like 10 feet wide. I'm so in love with that painting. 10 feet is like, yeah, it's about 10 feet wide. It's crazy. It's so big, Jovan. I love it. Yeah, I'm also so in love with it. I'm so happy to be sharing it with you, friends. I'm good. I don't feel so hot physically, but mentally I feel great. So I'll take it. I'm happy to hear that, Aiden. Why do you feel not so hot physically? Are you sick? Are you like depleted energetically? What's going on, man? If you'd be willing to share. Thank you for the silver, McGee. It's nice of you, my friend. I'm taking an Enneagram test. Oh, I'm interested. Like apparently, like it was a very I want to say ironic, but I'm just feeling like it's the algorithms, if you will. Like as soon as I saw Aiden send that stuff, I also went and tested mine, and like the ones that were the most active, if you will, was 4 and 8, and I saw them writing like 4W5, 4 wing 5. And then I watched this video where this dude basically explains different movie characters and the archetypes that they kind of play into with these kind of enneagram numbers. And like as he was explaining it, like almost close to the end of it, he's like, and you're not allowed to, go adjacent. You have to have like one of the ones next to you as a wing. And I'm like, hell no. And one of the things that is like present, if you will, in the 8 number, if you will, is the one to take things sometimes. And I just felt so called out. Like I want to take the four side of it as well, because I feel I resonate with it, and it's on the actual representation of it is very active, but I'm not allowed to do that, and yet I want to. And I decided I'm going to nonetheless. I'm like, yeah, I understand, and I see that I'm doing the thing you're saying I'm doing, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Thank you for the hugs, BTC. I hope you're doing well, friend. It was nice to catch you in Insane Stream as well. I'm so excited. Blah. Hey, I've had a really bad day. This somehow cheers me up. Blah. I'm so happy to hear that, my friend. That's exactly why I'm here as well. To cheer you up, to cheer me up, to cheer ourselves up, my friend. Every single time we do, the whole gets a little bit better. I'm happy that you can join us in this space. What's that? It's like a personality test type of thing. So the idea behind the Enneagram is basically that as a child you have to build these defenses, for your environment, and depending on the defenses you build, uh, it kind of affects the way you perceive and affects the way you choose to interact with the world. But the thing is, it kind of persists even after you're not a child anymore, and it can potentially be something that hurts your relationships, but it can also be something that can help your relationships, and in knowing it you can potentially heal some of your traumas. So it's a thing. I mean, like the 16 personalities one is a little bit more open, if you will. Like you can find the information, where with the enneagrams it's a little bit more paywalled. So it's about what you want to do in the now, if you will. Millie77, melt more, and there goes my focus to work. Should probably just clock out. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday to you. Thank you for joining us, Millie. It's so nice to have you here. It's a personality test. It's pretty good, to be honest. It can be. Like, at least you shouldn't, make it your be all end all. It shouldn't be the only thing that you kind of, look at. But it can be something to create some perspective as to how to look at yourself, if you will. I feel that my body is beat to hell right now, but my mind is fairly sound. I've been beating my body up a little bit as of late. I don't know if it's the same kind of feeling, but like this arm, for example, has been a little bit iffy, if you will. Personality test, Aiden post in the Discord. but I didn't want to pay for the results, so I'm doing it again. Yeah, I didn't want to either. You're fine. I'm like, like, well, pay for it. Like, oh, I'm okay with seeing, oh, cool, this nice little representation you have there. I think if anything, you can kind of just use the visualization, pick, from that, see which one is the most active, and then just go to YouTube and search Enneagram, whatever your number is, let's say 4, wing, and then one of the adjacent ones, the one you feel is more active, and then you can go and find information on that as well. I kind of went all, is it adjacent? Next to it? I kind of went to, like, the exact opposite, 8 and 4 for mine. Oops, dumb format. Oh well, no, it's okay, my friend. I've taken this before. I can't remember what my results were though. Interesting, it can be. In the Discord, I made a thing so people can see what each other's personality types are, like a Myers-Briggs and Enneagram, which are the two big ones they are. Thank you, Aiden. I appreciate you doing that as well, man. It's a little bit of an extra insight into each other. The little circle will tell you what it is. It'll be bigger in the part of the pie, and the second biggest one next to it. My biggest ones is 8 and 4, dude. Like, it was, it looked kind of lopsided almost. I didn't pay for it either. I just looked at the image. I felt the only one. My dreams have been super vivid lately too, but kind of boring. If you run into zombie problems, send me a dream message and I'll help you. I look forward to it, Terra Niner. Just like, and then Terra Niner just like falls through the roof, like completely strapped, like guns on top of his guns. And then on top of his guns, he has ammunition, and then laying on top of the ammunition, more guns. Show me where the freaking zombies are. Oh, I haven't done the Myers-Briggs lately, but I've been an INPF in the past, introvert, intuitive, feeler, perceiver. I didn't know those words for it, but all I know is that my test comes back as the protagonist. ENTJ, I think. I'm not sure exactly. Like Aiden, you would probably be able to tell us, my friend. Sometimes I get mistyped as a INPF, but I am just an INTP with a big heart. It's beautiful. I can see that as well, Aiden. I will admit, sometimes my life is a vibe. I feel that as well, Lane. Like, it sounds like you've been having so much fun, man. Learning to become an artist, as you're like, dude, the fact that you're as young as you are and you already are going in the direction that you want to go in, very commendable, dude. It's only going to be more of a vibe as you continue. Physically, I have the same struggles as per usual, joint pain and stomach issues, but I actually feel like I have a lot of energy right now, so I'm happy. I'm happy for you as well, Aiden. Thank you so much for joining us, dude. It's so nice to have you here. I just went on an hour walk in a nice forest, listening to some stoner doom metal. If only I had a joint. Oh, Lane, if only I could join you and smoke that joint with you, dude. Man, I am looking forward to the next joint I'm going to smoke. Like, me and Jovan have been going pretty strong with Sober October, and I feel like it's not only something I'm proud of, but it's something that makes me excited just about our ability to, abstain from things out of that choice. Like, being able to mentally push yourself in a direction to do something that you believe in, even when it sometimes feels a little bit difficult, can be something that's so empowering. You feel like you have this certainty within yourself, like, yeah, actually, I can do this thing that I thought I couldn't do potentially. And it makes me happy. Makes me so, so happy. That's lovely. Hello to you, Dramatic Maximum. I like your username, dude. Maximum and Dramatic, very much go hand in hand. Thank you for joining us. How are you doing? I got INFJ or something. Like, I do not, unfortunately, like, those letters do not mean that much to me. Like, I do know they have like a label alongside with them. If you can give me the label, even though I don't like labels, if you can give me the label, I'd have a little bit more of an understanding. as far as my understanding goes from reading into it, Myers-Briggs is your inborn interest, and Enneagram is the form your ego takes. Oh, okay. I didn't know that actually, so thank you for letting me know that, Aiden. The more we know, consciousness expanding just a little bit more. Greetings from a fellow Homo sapien 12,000 kilometers away. May you live a long and content life. Sir, how to be rich like you. Oh, my friend. Like, if you're asking about mental riches, riches of friends, riches of perception, riches of self-reflection, just stick around, friend. Like, that's exactly the riches we share here. If you're asking about money riches, I'm still trying to figure that out myself. It's not the be all end all. It's not something that is of utmost importance to me. But if I figure it out, I'll teach you that as well, my friend. Thank you for joining us. Greetings to you from 12,000 kilometers away. How did you know I'm in South Africa though? Part Parthamamu? Parthamamu. Uh, Parthamumu. I'll call you Mamu. How about that? Mamu I can deal with. Mamu, it's nice to meet you, Fred. Thank you for joining us. I think it might be your first time. Your accent, do you like it, Uncle Angus? I'm very happy that you appreciate it, my friend. I got kind of strapped with it being born in South Africa. And I think it changed a little bit. When I went to China, they kind of tried to beat my South African accent out of me, because for some reason I say, for obvious reasons, the Chinese prefer certain accents above others. For instance, an American and an English accent are desirable. And like it was in China for the first time that I realized I don't speak like other people do, because they were like trying to get me to say things differently. Like the I, for example, like Afrikaans and English are kind of similar. Like the alphabet, for instance, we say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P, Q, R, S, T, U, V, X, Y, Z. And like E, like it's difficult for some reason for me to say it different. Like it's I, so it's not E, it's And I remember teaching a class about the letter I, and I said, uh. Did I say or did I say E? Yes, I like you see it's difficult for me even in this moment. And I got so much flack. Like I got so much flack that I got like called into a meeting afterwards and they were like, murmur, murmur, murmur. You have to say these things in this way. You're trying to teach these kids English. I'm like, yeah, if they understand me. And the thing is as well, English accents, okay, I'm trying to say 10,000 things at the same time again. First and foremost, the Chinese language is very much tonal. So, like for instance, you have ma, 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 ma. Like literally it has these little symbols. And that ma means four different things depending on the way you say it. And you can have like words that goes like, how, like how are you? But if I say how, bo how, then it means something else. So for them, an accent quite literally sounds like a different language. And it was something that kind of like frustrated me, because if you genuinely understand English, you can understand different accents as well, because fundamentally it's the same language being spoken, just with a little bit of a different nuance, different inflections, different focuses on different words, if you will. But it's still fundamentally the same language. But it was so difficult to teach in that way when I speak fundamentally differently to what people were expecting me to speak, and they were trying to get me to speak differently or to speak more English like. And I was supposed to say I'm from England as well, which absolutely degraded my soul, because then a parent would come up to me and ask me, oh, so how is it here somewhere? Like they'll name a random place in England, and I'll just be like, oh, I haven't been there yet. And I could say that with honesty because I haven't been there yet. Oh, but it made me so angry having to constantly lie, about where I'm from, about why it is I speak in the way that I do. Yeah, man, English. Okay, I'm pretty interested now. Do it, Toasty. Do it, dude. Find out, man. It's just like an extra way to see yourself, if you will. Instead of just being like, oh, I am Toasty. It can be like, oh, I am Toasty and I have traits like this, traits like that. And then you can kind of, with those bits of information, self-analyze and be like, oh, why do I have traits like this? Why do I have traits like that? Is it something that change? Just is it something that has changed as I've aged? Is it something that I have the ability to change potentially? And at least that's the way I've been looking at it as well. I've kind of, moved into or like accepted, if you will, the feeling or the understanding that I'm trying to, be the, what's it called, Myers-Briggs personality type that they assigned to me, because it feels like it resonates. Like if you go in and read through the information, and I would recommend, if you will, to do that one first. You can just go and search 16 personalities and you'll find it as well. Like that one, it has so much information alongside with it, and it gives you all of it, for pretty much free. How your relationships kind of act. And I'm like, as I'm reading through this, I'm like, they're looking at me. I'm trying to learn how to surrender and let go. Forever. I think that is a very good pursuit. How to surrender and let go is something that we're not exactly taught, but it's something that sometimes gets forced upon us. And I'm instantly thinking about, a psychedelic experience. Like any of you friends who have had, significant psychedelic experiences, man, for some reason my eye is itching. You'll realize that the feeling of surrender and letting go is almost something you become so aware of that it's exactly what you need to do. Like this attachment and this ability or this likelihood of us to try and, hold on for dear life is something that literally hurts us. And the way that I think about it is, from a analogy point of holding onto a cactus. Like you're gripping this cactus with your hand, and the thorns are literally embedded inside of your flesh, and you're in extreme amounts of pain, but you're unwilling to let go because you want to have the control of holding on to something. And that need for control, that want, to like stabilize yourself, if you will, with what you think you're being stabilized by, is the very thing that hurts you, causes you turmoil, causes you to lash out at others because you're in pain. And letting go is literally the only way that you're going to free yourself from that pain. So I support you forever. I'm sure you're going to find it, my friend. You just have to keep seeking. I'm not an uncle. I'm Unclean Gus. Oh, sorry. Sorry, Unclean Gus. I take my hat off and I apologize, good sir. Unclean Gus it is. I'll remember this time. Thank you for joining us, friend. It's nice to have you here. The tests are very different, but they elaborate pretty well on some of the different fractals of ourselves. I relate very strongly to my types, so maybe I'm an outlier, but I think the tests are a good practice for everyone. I think so as well, dude. Like, I also feel, at least, with the Myers-Briggs test, the 16 personalities test, I also feel like what's the word you used? Align? Outlier, relate strongly. That's the word. Yeah, I also feel like I relate. Like it's something that I'm like, yeah, this sounds right. And it's basically just, again, astrology with a different flavor. Like I was listening to a Alan Watts chat lecture today while I was helping my mom packing rusks, and he was going into this understanding that when we were as humans basically trying to map out, our existences and these stars, we were creating these grid networks, like a spherical grid network over top of the planet in the sky. And then in these little boxes of those grids, we were trying to identify what fell into those grids. And then by identifying, big star systems and the shapes they have, it was an extra way for us to understand these things. And we could use them to navigate, and we could use them as a way to almost become magical beings. Because if you could predict, if you knew that there was going to be a solar eclipse, and you could tell other beings, hey bruh, if you don't give me X amount of coins, I'm going to literally black out the entire sun tomorrow. And you're like, oh, it's like you're gonna do that, bruh. And then tomorrow comes and the sun gets blacked out. Then suddenly you're like absolutely shitting yourself because this dude blacked out the sun because I didn't give him coins. Obviously, he didn't do that. Obviously, he just understood the mathematics of, how the eclipses, reoccur, if you will. But because he had that information, because he understands the language of our planet, moon, sun system, he was able to communicate something to someone that they weren't able to communicate to themselves. And what we realize about our ways of trying to understand our world is it says more about us than it does about our realities, actually. And if you want to be even more critical about it, if you go into any other point in space, suddenly all of these star systems, completely fall apart because they're not going to be aligned in the same way depending on where you find yourself in space. Oh, human beings. We have been evolving though. Little by little, bit by bit, self-reflection makes room for growth. That it does. That it does. You know what I'm thinking now, Jovan? Self-reflection technically creates an infinite room for growth. Because if you want to get technical about it, as soon as you self-reflect, there is basically, like at least in my opinion, let's say you self-reflect by looking at yourself, right? And if you look into another being's eyes, be it another person or be it your own eyes, technically there is going to be a reflection of you in your eyes. And then there's going to be a reflection of you in the eyes of your reflection. There is this infinite potential for growth that occurs as soon as you start to self-reflect. Yeah, man, I feel so good today, friends. Thank you for all the energy you're sharing with me as well. I'm gonna go check it out. Thanks, Aiden. Please do, and let us know, Toasty. I can put it into the what do you call it? Google Sheets. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that's part of the test too, though. So it's okay. Some personality types are more connected to their ego. So I think that's part of it. That's why I was answering all the questions with a meh. I mean, yeah, all of the meh questions are like literally a part of the personalities as well. Karlekar san, love is true. Man, that sounds hard. Karlek Arsan, Karlek Arsan. Is that how I say it? Love is true. Thank you so much, Mammy. It's so nice to have you here, my friend. How have you been? I love linguistics. It's so freaking cool. So fascinating, right? Karlek, 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 Karlek Arsan. I feel like that might be even closer. I'm not sure if I'm doing it correctly. Please do let me know how massively I brutalized it. Jij is geliefd. That's Afrikaans. Ek het jou lief. Liefde is waar. Like technically that would be the way to say, love is true. Liefde is waar. Waar is true. Liefde is love. And we have the same word for is. Is and is. Me three, Edmund. Beautiful. I see if a test can distract me more than I already distract. I mean, who knows, Toasty? Maybe a little bit of extra distraction is going to kick you back into being non-distracted, bring two distracts together to bring non-distraction into being. Usually, I prefer the Myers-Briggs, but recently, advice given to my Enneagram type has been really helpful to me to keep me from avoiding some of the more negative habits I have. Hmm. Like, I know that these Enneagrams kind of come along or have associated with them be certain behaviors, like likely behaviors that you're, you know, prone to, if you will. So that's very interesting that you're mentioning that actually, Aiden. Surrender of control is crucial to being a functional human being. You must go with the flow of the universe. You can't go against the current, even if you wanted to. Yeah, I agree. Like, I added a little bit of what I wanted to say at the end of that, Edmund, but I agree completely, dude. Like, it's not possible, dude. It's something that we try to sometimes, kicking and screaming, trying to go against what the universe's flow is supposed to be. And I was feeling like I was doing that, dude. Like, I was kicking and screaming because the universe was like, come look. And I was like, no, I don't want to look there. And it's like, come. Look at this. And I'm like, no, I don't want to see it. But look at what this is. No. And it was just this story I was telling myself, the universe says yes. And if you say no, the universe is going to keep saying yes until you say yes as well. I thought I was going to get a 0, but I got an overwhelming type 2, the helper. That's beautiful, actually, Jovan. Do you feel you resonate with that? I think you do. Like, I instantly am like, yeah, Jovan definitely is one of the most beautiful helpers I've had in my life so far. Once you've learned you don't and can't control anything, you can live more freely. Absolutely, Edmund. I couldn't agree more, friend. So much of the stuff we hold on to just doesn't matter at the end of the day. It's freeing to consciously recognize that. Just getting there seems to be the challenge. It does sometimes, that a niner. I agree completely, friend. I think, when I sometimes I feel so reluctant in sharing stuff like this, but I feel also like the reason I'm reluctant is because of the amount of bias, our society has placed upon these things. But psychedelics is one of the best things, at least in my personal experience, that have helped me get there, if you will, to realize, that I don't have as much control as I might have, thought. And in giving some of this control back and like going through an experience where I'm completely and viscerally aware of my lack of control, it can be something that's so freeing when you come back from that experience, and I believe for that reason as well, psychedelics specifically are extremely non-addictive, because fundamentally we as human beings want to believe we are in control, and kind of throwing a metaphorical wrench into your gears and losing control for a little bit can be something that is so realigning when you come out of that and realize, oh shit, the things that I do have control over. And that's one of the things that psychedelics make you very aware of as well, is the things that you do have control over and choose to use your control, for bad, if you will, for negative intent. And if you're unwilling to change your grips, to what you want to control, psychedelics will take a beating to you a little bit. They're gonna be like, oh wait, huh? You don't want to listen, huh? Okay. And then people get bad trips, yo. Super bad trips. And I've seen it so much. I've spent so much time with friends and just sat with them and kind of talked to them about what it is they're experiencing. And as they start to explain, what's going on, and I, just ask questions leading them to the point where I know they're supposed to go, I can see this realization. Ooh, like I just had this feeling in my head as well. This realization coming over them, like a genuine opening up of, for this information, for what is being told or what is being experienced, what is supposed to be taken away from it. And we have the ability to heal ourselves. It's really amazing. I personally don't put too much faith in zodiac signs, but I think it's cool. So I might add that to the thing on the Discord. I think so. If anything, it's a little bit of extra information, Aiden. We love ourselves informations, dude. A puddle can learn about itself from studying the ground that made its shape. Ooh. Oh, I like that, dude. Oh, damn it. The stream dropped. That's unfortunate. Let's start it back up. Unfortunately, I don't think I did. No, probably not. Save my title today. I think there might actually be a spot open on Haywire Hill now. Uncle Becky tagged me while I was streaming. Okay, no. They're still streaming on Haywire Hill, so I'm not going to. Indoors has calm in stores. That doesn't make sense, but yes. Huh? It's the 19th? Yes. Okay. Should be fine. Man, what a day this has been. I feel like the calm energy of the room is really helping me as well. You know, kind of feel into what I want to say a little bit more clearly. Instead of kind of being affected constantly by the ebbs and flows of nature. You, as an infinite being, have chosen to participate in a form of experience. Yeah. Yeah. You know, we've been talking about our participation in forms of experience this whole time. You know, these enneagrams, Miggs, Briggs Myers Briggs tests, zodiac signs. Technically, every single time we identify with these things, it's us as an infinite being choosing to participate in a form of experience. And we do it all the time. You know, sometimes we participate in the experience of being a victim, the experience of feeling sorry for ourselves, the experience of being a guy with a monkey on a trampoline. Hey, Edmund and Christabel and Toasty. Is this guy like, I'm not even joking about that anymore, Toasty. I got to see him, dude. Like, the stories that dude was telling. I don't know why he deletes his streams afterwards, because they're so good as well. Like, I really enjoyed watching his stream because he was like laying on the trampoline, like talking about, you know, what the monkey likes to do, about the monkey's ability to, you know, kind of go to the next place if it wants to. It's a super social little animal, so it likes to stay around. The monkey's, you know, kind of psychopathic tendencies, you know, because it hates lizards apparently, and it would lure iguanas, you know, over or close to, you know, like the ledge, if you will, of the little tree house that they had, and it would fall like 40 feet down to their own death. And if they're small enough, he tells us the story like the monkey just kind of brutalizes the lizards. And I'm just like listening to this, and there's this cute little monkey, like literally like arm-sized little monkey, and I'm just like hearing this absolute like war crime stories of this little monkey, and I'm like, goodness, no wonder humans are so hectic. I mean, if small little cute monkey can be hectic, like us big ass monkeys with extreme intelligence and the ability to create freaking weapons of mass destruction, how can we expect any less? But damn it, we ain't no monkey anymore. We're evolving. And we're the next step. Alright, thanks. Jasmine, it's nice to have you here. Good morning and or evening, dear Meltmore and friends. It's an honor to share the space with you, Jasmine. Thank you so much for joining us. And Jasmine, again, thank you so much for the beautiful message you sent today. Was it like 4 a.m.? Yeah, about the day. I like it's been ringing true. It's been ringing true. Like Tosin did the same as well, actually. Like, I love you. You are worthy of love. And I'm like, boy, I fucking those you freaking beast, you dude. I love you, friends, so much, so much. Yes, he also hopes. Hey, Klepto! It's nice to have you here, my friend. Jovan, thank you for joining us again. You don't have to tell stories about it, it's okay. I believe me, please. The monkey kills lizard. Dude, like, hates lizards. Like, literally. So he was, like, talking about. I think he lives in Florida. Like, he was talking about how that, like, lizards are these invasive species and how the monkey just does not vibe with them. Like the monkey forages as well, he says, and he says like the monkey basically eats twice because like he'll give the monkey food, berries and like slices of banana and stuff, and then throughout the day the monkey will be like in the trees foraging for bugs and like grasshoppers and flies and stuff like that, and he'll eat lizards as well. And I guess, at least this is the way I'm interpreting it. The lizards are like competition for these little critters that the monkey wants to eat. So it just doesn't have no absolute no chill. It's just like, nah, bro. This is my turf. Just like brutalizes the lizards. Dude, I'm like, monkey is a savage. I saw it for a second. He's telling these stories, and his sweet little monkey is playing with his fingers, right? Like he has this little like teddy monkey that he plays with as well. So cute. Like there's a part of me that would want like a monkey, like a capuchin monkey. Ooh, like we had friends here, that had a capuchin monkey, and it was still kind of like a baby, and like it had a diaper on, and like seeing its little hands, it has hands, like literally, like it looks like a little human hand, and like taking my finger and its little hand like gripping around like the tip of my finger, and the way that it looks at me and like holding it in my arms, and it like plays with my lighter, and then it like pulls on the little like lighter cap that I had, and like the inquisitiveness and the ability for it to be so curious. And again, the little front-facing eyes, the little human-esque face, the small little ears, the little hands that it has. It was, yeah, just like this reminder again, like, yeah, we're not separate. We're very much not separate. I don't think his is a capuchin monkey. No, I don't think so. No, we're still monkeys, just a hairless breed with a different language. We have some pretty interesting sounds though, dude. Damn. And we talk about some strange stuff. Like I don't consider myself better than monkeys, but I do consider ourselves maybe a little bit more interesting than monkeys in some ways. Especially with the conversations and the stuff wat ons kwijt raakt, the stuff that we say, sometimes. Like I'm curious now actually, if you were to genuinely do proper studies on monkeys and you could somehow, gain some sort of neurological information from them. And we already have implanted, brain computer interfaces into monkeys. So, like, I don't know if your friends have seen that video where a monkey controls a Pong, little bat just of his mind wirelessly. So freaking sick. So, technically, we already kind of have the technology to find a lot of data about the way that they think or perceive. So I'm curious, would these enneagrams, Briggs Myers, like star or like astrological signs, would there be archetypes? Is the question I'm really asking for monkeys as well. Would they kind of have these certain expressions that is like reoccurring? I mean, that's gonna be a whole study for someone else. I would love to be able to do stuff like that, but damn, they expect you to have a degree and shit. Why can't I just do research, yo? Please just let me do research. I don't think it's a capuchin. Lol, never mind, bro. I don't trust capuchins. You don't trust them? Is it a capuchin? Like the one that I played with, I think it's a capuchin. The small ones, right? The one that was in the Hangover movie. Like they're kind of chill, actually, dude. They're kind of small. They do love humans, and they tend to be non-violent as well. The only caveat is that it's a lifelong pet. Like you don't get a monkey if you want to like, oh, want a monkey for a bit. No, like those things live 60 years long. I was like literally like flabbergasted. I was like, excuse me, 60 years? They live for 60 years. Yeah, 60 years. Yep. That's a long time. They're like, yeah. I was like, yo. You see, I feel I don't have the ability to be that responsible or make a commitment like that, because I would hate myself if I had to, move somewhere, if I had to travel and I wasn't able to take my monkey with me, or if I had to leave him with someone else. Technically, a child, after they turn, 25 or so, they get to be their own person and live their own lives. But yo, 60 years of having a child? That's a little bit yikes, at least to me. I was a little brown. It was a little brown monkey. I don't think it was a capuchin. I don't think so either. But I don't know what monkey that was either. Actually, I don't think I trust monkeys in general. Like we have baboons here in South Africa. Like a baboon is definitely not something you trust. Those things are savage. Like oh goodness, those things are scarily savage. Their faces, oh my. Yeah, I'm very much in distrust of them at least. True, true. That kind of remind you of what you could be if you acted on impulse, right? Like it's this animalistic nature that you're so like keenly aware of. You're like, huh, I could be that, if you will, and yet I'm not. And we're not supposed to, completely dissociate with it either. Like we should, still in some ways be aware of our monkeyness as we are aware of our divinity as well. Because it's, in the mid ground that we kind of find balance and we kind of find our place in this reality. If we throw ourselves only into our animalistic natures, we're not suited for society. And it's the exact same thing if we throw ourselves completely into divinity as well. You become completely unrelatable, unfortunately. And it's a it's a weird balance to try and find. I could see it. Animals definitely have personality, so why not? Yeah, right? I'm curious, dude. I think it would be very possible. And I would love to, be a part of like a data collection set like that, to like see how that stuff works out. I mean, I guess a part of me is, experimenting on monkeys right now, so I guess I don't have to, but damn it, I want to know more. I'm savage. I've ripped off way more scrotums than any 50. Goodness, dude. That sounds kind of savage overall, whereas. Maybe stop doing that? It sounds kind of painful, dude. I hope you're not ripping your own scrotum off. I saw a bonobo at the San Diego Zoo, and it was cool because it's definitely my favorite kind of animal. But it was kind of depressing because it was a bunch of animals in stupid human cages, bored out of their minds. Yeah, I I'm very much not in approval of, zoos either. I don't think I've ever been to a zoo either. I've been to a reptile park. That's why I had to think about it. Like technically a reptile park is also zoo-esque, but like I think reptiles have a little bit less care about stuff like that. But like a monkey, for example, very much does care about stuff like that. Like I don't know if your friends have seen that video of these apes. Hey, Buddha. Of these apes that see, grass and the sky for the first time after being like locked in captivity for like something like 15 years, and like seeing the visceral like reaction experience that they put out into the world as soon as they like see the outside world and how they like literally look awestruck, like that broke my heart just because of how I could see this, consciousness, this ability to experience within them as well. And it's devastating. It really is. Mm. Narcissus playing a spiritual right in front of us in a flower shirt. A narcissist, I'm guessing you're saying. Zippity Duda today. I love you, friend. I'm sorry that you think that. I believe a narcissist is someone that believes they are the only one that's right and you are always wrong. And I don't believe that at all. If you want to teach me something, I'm here to learn. Thank you for joining us, friend. If the humans are so stupid, then how did they catch the bonobos? I don't think we're saying the humans are stupid. I'm just saying the humans maybe are unempathetic. You know, like we are very intelligent creatures, but because of our sheer intelligence, we sometimes, do things unfeelingly, without any regard for the well being of something else. And that's stupid, if anything, is if the humans are bro. I saw the same bonobos when I was a kid. They kind of grossed me out because they were all scissoring each other. Yeah, bonobos have absolutely no chill. They're the most sexually active of primates that we have on this planet. They just kind of like bang all the time, and they have pretty like tight knit communities as a result of that. But sometimes a little bit of a yike, especially as a kid. You're like, bro, can you like find a room? There's a primate sanctuary in South Africa. I believe it's part of the biggest free flight bird sanctuary. Okay, that might be actually, Jovan. Bored Ape Yacht Club? I think so, Eastans. Yes, Bored Ape Yacht Club. Good evening to you on Beam. I'm so happy to have you here. Like, I actually kind of reluctantly streamed on Haywire Hill subreddit today because I saw you were still streaming, and I was like, like I think like Uncle Becky would want me to stream on Haywire Hill when the first stream dropped. So here we are. It's so nice to have you here as well, my friend. I hope that you're doing well. Thank you for the love that you shared today with us as well. Oh, yeah, bonobos are downright nasty. But they are kind of more evolved. I think because they are like, why fight when we could just hang out? They just don't have any other understanding of love. I agree completely, dude. Like, that is there. It's like, very good point, actually, Aiden. Instead of where our ability to love one another, I think, is very much expressive, like the way we talk to one another, the things we say, the way we experience, the things we want to share with one another, the way we co-create. All of these things could be seen as fractions or factions of love. To them, sexual intercourse is love to them, like grooming each other, for example, is the love. So their love is almost fundamentally only physical because they don't necessarily have the ability to co-create in the way that we do. And like, it's not that they're lesser than us, I believe they're more evolved, as you're saying, in the way that they are choosing love instead of anything else. And they have like very limited infighting between them as well, interestingly enough. Do they give bomb down? I don't know, dude. You'll have to go and find out overall. That painting, right, Auntie? Oh my, this painting. Whew, I'm so grateful. Like literally every single time I see it, I get like washed with this grateful energy. Hey, Young B found it. It's called Monday Monkeyland in Plettenberg Bay. Sounds about right. I don't think I've been there just yet, actually. Like I know we have a few bird sanctuaries here in South Africa. We have one in Sun City as well, I think. Like we have a bunch of bird sanctuaries, but like I don't have any recollection of being to the other one. No worries, you are correct. Always feel welcome to share here. I do. Thank you so much, Aunt B. Like when I just wanted to go live, you were like on the front page, so I didn't want to, like start streaming on Haywire Hill at that point. But I'm happy to be streaming here now, my friend. Thank you for allowing me to as well. Yes, exactly. That was the thinking behind it. Monkeys only get the body love, but they are still choosing it over violence. Exactly, dude. They're choosing, camaraderie, they're choosing companionship, they're choosing closeness instead of separation, instead of hatred, instead of violence. And like in that way, we can learn something from them. It's a good sign of a growing community. It really is. It makes me so happy as well, Aunt B. Ah, we've had such amazing chats today, my friends. I appreciate you sharing the space with me. Thank you for joining me in my room today. Oh goodness, I can't leave right now, can I? The one, the only, Melt More. It's the one and only Uncle Becky as well. Thank you for joining me, friend. The first ever stream inside of the room. It has never been done. Well, technically it's been done, but not the official stream done in the room. Thank you for tuning in, even if it's just at the end of it, Uncle Becky. We had some cool chats today, man. It was absolutely blessed. Thank you so much for joining us here as well. Uncle Becky just told me what this means. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Aunt B. Like, I was also trying to be very low key, kind of cool about it. Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Aunt B. Sometimes people are spice, so much spice, and the crowd goes wild. I love you all. I love you, Edmund, Aiden, Aunt B, Uncle Becky, Jovan. How do we get the monkeys to be cool to one another? Like, most of the monkeys are cool to one another, my friend. Monkeys that don't necessarily understand, you know, like, okay, let me actually backtrack a little bit. If you want to understand which monkey is the most accepted, in his immediate friend group or immediate tribe, if you will, and the one that's the alpha male, when a male becomes alpha through sheer strength, when he falters, the other males will murder him, like straight up just kill him, because the way that he was taking power was through force and through violence. And then they kind of take him out as soon as he falters, as soon as he loses that edge. But in certain communities, like I think it is in bonobos especially, the alphas, the leaders of their tribes, are the ones that are the most compassionate, the most loving, the ones that do the most grooming, the one that takes the most care of the others, the one that eats the last. It's literally this clear sign of the most compassionate being are the ones that are seen as the leaders, not the most powerful beings. And I hope, like us monkeys, us human monkeys, start to take on the same type of understanding. Because at the moment it's all about power and who has the biggest guns and the most money, unfortunately. It is going to change. I see it changing, fortunately. And hey, Katie, it's so nice to have you here, my friend. You're catching us right at the end of the stream, unfortunately. My innocence has been ruined. Oh, I'd be. I'm so sorry. Yeah, unfortunately, that tends to happen here on Reddit. Like I think I know that's like 98%, just like good vibes, loving individuals. And then there is that occasional monkey. And they can ruin things sometimes. I'm so sorry. Thank you for joining us still, my friend. I don't know if one of you bad hammered him because I see it just disappeared. Can you flip the camera and pan across that painting up close? Yes, I can, Uncle Becky. And I'll do that for you. So let me do it this way first. And then I'll get a little bit closer. That was a cup. And now I'll take you. Like the entire thing as well. Let me just disconnect this light. I'm gonna keep illuminating it. we can go like this. And there are all my, what do you call them? Manifestation pages. So before I hit that light switch, I make sure to read out loud one of these. Always puts me in the right mindset before I go to sleep. My friends, thank you so much for joining me today. I appreciate your presence always. Good morning, and do you know how awesome you are? Yes, you are, Katie. Listen to R&B. You're the coolest thing ever. Super ASMR. Sweet. Whisper sweet nothings into Afrikaans. Okay, now I have to whisper. Hierso het ons so baie swirls. Kleure, gevoelens, beweging en lewe. Elke liewe een van hierdie klein draaiseltjies is 'n representasie van ongelooflike groot storme. So gevaarlik, so kwaad en steeds so mooi. Sweet nothings, Uncle Becky. Contrast is necessary, I guess. It can be on beam. I see the edge of the pit. Is it Earth? No, that's Jupiter. Yay, compassion. Compassion to you, Tiki. It's so juicy. Man, I think okay, no, not too much. Masay un idraliki pik kosai fare koi tubi. Yeah, I agree, yeah. That's gorgeous. You're gorgeous, Aiden. Very foul. Auto-suggestion friend. Every time I see it, I get so mesmerized. Jupiter. My friends, thank you for joining me here again today, for sharing the space with me. I look forward to seeing you all again tomorrow. Goodbye, everyone.